Yes, okay, good. Okay. Hello, I'm Nikki Mantell, and welcome to the Chelsea Candidates Forum hosted by the Lowdown to Hell and Back News. Bienvenue au Forum des candidats de Chelsea, organisé par le Lowdown to Hell and Back News. Le Lowdown est le hebdo anglais qui couvre la région des collines de l'Outaouais depuis 1973. Et nous avons fait de notre mieux pour organiser cet événement dans les deux langues et dans un format virtuel que nous n'avons jamais essayé auparavant. Alors, veuillez nous pardonner les quelques erreurs ici et là. Ces événements sont très difficiles à organiser, même sans une pandémie. So, local journalism has never been more important. And this event is just one way your local newspaper, The Lowdown, does its job of informing the community of Chelsea and beyond. No one covers your local government like your local paper. So let's put some good questions out there to the candidates tonight. The forum will be moderated by Lynn Berthiaume. Ms. Berthiaume has served Wakefield and the broader community as both a La Pêche counselor and a prominent local business person. Lynn is an experienced moderator, and she's going to be strict with our agenda and our schedule. So, Lynn, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Merci, Nikki. Thank you. Re-bienvenue, tout le monde. A second welcome to the Candidates Forum, the Chelsea Candidates Forum this evening. C'est un grand plaisir pour moi d'être votre modératrice ce soir. It's a real pleasure for me to be the moderator this evening. First, very important information about simultaneous translation. En premier lieu, voici de l'information sur la traduction simultanée offerte ce soir. We are very grateful to the 4 local volunteer translators with us tonight. You actually see some of their names on the screen, and they're waiting to start to translate for us. Nous sommes très reconnaissants aux 4 bénévoles qui offrent ce soir une traduction simultanée. Very important. If you wish to hear French translated into English, click on Interpretation at the bottom of your screen, then choose English. Si vous voulez que tout ce qui se dit en anglais soit traduit en français, cliquez sur Interpretation au bas de votre écran. Ensuite, choisissez French. Et maintenant, la traduction simultanée commencera. And now, simultaneous translation will start. Un grand merci aux candidats et candidates pour leur présence ce soir et leur désir de servir la communauté de Chelsea en tant qu'élus. À chacun de vous, citoyennes et citoyens de Chelsea, pour votre participation, votre écoute, vos questions ce soir et votre implication dans la communauté. Voici quelques lignes directrices pour assurer un forum intéressant, efficace et respectueux et dans les délais prévus. Premièrement, les langues. Les questions que je vais poser seront posées dans les 2 langues.
From the moderator will be asked in two languages. Questions from citizens.
Les questions des citoyens et citoyennes seront posées dans la langue de la question. Les candidats répondront aux questions dans la langue de leur choix. Deuxièmement, enregistrement et live streaming.
Okay.
Ce forum sera enregistré et l'enregistrement sera disponible sur le site web Lowdown. Ce forum, on espère, sera live streamed à la page
Facebook. It will also be live streamed on the Facebook page of the Lowdown.
Ensuite, vos questions. Il y a 2 façons de poser vos
questions. There are 2 ways
questions.
to ask questions.
Premièrement, par Zoom.
You can ask questions on Zoom. Click
Donc,
on the
cliquez
chat
sur le chat au bas de votre écran.
on the bottom of your screen.
Ensuite, cliquez sur blue drop-down box au bas de l'écran à
Then
droite.
click on the blue
droite.
drop-down box.
Ensuite, cliquez
Right.
sur questions, questions. Tapez votre question et cliquez sur send. Deuxième option, c'est par courriel. Vous pouvez envoyer votre question à questionschelsea@gmail.com. Question pluriel chelsea@gmail.com. And now I'm switching to English. Some important pieces of information for all of us. You can submit your question at any time during the forum. Please submit your question in either English or French. Your question must be no longer than 50 words, 50 words, respectful and focused on issues. Please indicate your name and ward at the beginning of your question. Questions can be directed either to the candidates in a ward, in a particular ward, or to the mayoral candidates. Due to time constraints, questions cannot be directed to all of the candidates. I will read the questions in the order they are submitted via Zoom or email. Questions that have been previously answered will not be asked. And now we'll talk a little bit about how the evening will flow. First of all, we have a timekeeper. So shortly, you're going to see a time chronomètre show up on your screen. And so we are offering a forum that is equitable for all candidates and one that also allows as many questions from citizens as possible. So a volunteer is serving as our timekeeper, and a timer will be visible on everyone's screen.
Lynn?
Yes?
So we are having technical issues with the timer. For
Okay.
some reason, we can't get it to load into Zoom. So I think what I'm going to have to do at this point is just use an iPhone timer. And I'm just going to have to let people know.
Yeah.
I will turn off my background because then you can see my phone. So I will just have to do my best here.
Okay, now Trevor, we're flowing. We've done a lot of prepping and now we're flowing with the evening.
Yeah.
And how it all unfolds. So Trevor, can I ask that when we arrive at the 15 or 20 seconds before the end, lift your hand up. So I'll be watching. Okay.
I could also say 10 seconds if you want me to.
Please, that would be even better.
Okay.
Okay. So let's do that. So you will verbally say 10 seconds and then you will say when it's at 0.
Yeah.
When the time is up, so that we because we will be turning off the candidates' microphones at the end of their time to make this a flowing evening with equitable time for everyone.
Does this work?
I can see this, but I still would like to hear. And
Yeah, no, I'll still say it, but I'll hold it up so that everybody can see it.
Okay, excellent. I'm seeing nods from the candidates. Yes, that works. Okay, wonderful. So order of the questions and answers. For the ward candidates, the answers will be given by ward number. So ward 2, then 3, then 4, and then alphabetical order by surname, by family name within each ward. So the first part of the evening is questions for the ward candidates. There are only wards 2, 3, and 4 represented tonight because wards 1, 5, and 6, the candidate was acclaimed. So that's why we've got wards 2, 3, and 4 here today. There will be 1 minute per candidate to introduce themselves, and then there will be 2 questions. So I will ask the first question, and then each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer for each answer. So we'll do 1 question, all 7 candidates, and then second question, all 7 candidates. The second part of the evening is questions for the two mayoral candidates. There will be 2 minutes per candidate for them to present, introduce themselves, and then there will be 3 questions to the mayoral candidates, the same 2 questions that were posed to the board candidates, and a third question, only for the mayoral candidates. Then, a very important part of the evening, your questions. So questions from citizens and answers from the candidates. It will be 1 minute per candidate to answer the questions. And the fourth part of the evening will be Nikki Mantel's closing remarks. So with that, I'm just doing a quick check with Nikki, and Lucy, everything is good, I think. Oh, sorry, just 1 moment, please. Un petit moment, s'il vous plaît. Bon, Trevor, are you good to go? Because
I just need 1 second.
OK, wonderful. On attend un tout petit moment. Puis nous allons commencer par les mots de présentation de chaque candidat dans les quartiers. And we will be starting with Ward 2. Nous allons commencer avec le District 2. First will be Michael Bourassa, then Dominique Labrie, and then Jeff White. When Trevor gives us the thumbs up.
Okay, I am ready. Tell me when the time is starting.
Okay, so I'm now going to ask Michael Bourassa for a minute to present himself. Over to you, Michael. Start the timer, Trevor, please.
Merci, Madame Berthiaume. Merci au Lowdown et merci à tous les citoyens qui se joignent avec nous ce soir pour faire que notre démocratie est vibrante. Je m'appelle Michael Bourassa. J'habite au cœur du District 2, dans le quartier Mérédith. Je suis bilingue. Je suis un jeune candidat qui veut amener une vision différente au Conseil. J'ai une maîtrise en économie et je travaille à Agriculture Canada sur les relations canado-américaines. Je suis donc bon pour trouver des consensus et négocier. Pourquoi je me présente? Ça fait 2 ans que je suis la politique municipale de très près. Je participe aux réunions du Conseil. Je revise les règlements qui sont proposés et pose des questions. J'aime beaucoup échanger avec mes co-citoyens et mes voisins et c'est pour ça que je tente ma chance. If I'm elected, I have 4 priorities. The first one is to keep tax low. I want good municipal services, protect the environment, and promote active motor transportation.
10 seconds.
And the development of the city should be controlled, structured, and well thought of. Thank you.
Merci, Monsieur Bourassa. Michael, nous passons maintenant la parole à Monsieur Dominique Labrie. Over to you, Dominique. Starting 1 minute, please.
Bonsoir, my name is Dominique Labrie. I live on Chemin du Verger, behind the Fresh Mart. I was the Deputy Director General of the Municipality of Pontiac. I was involved in the preparation of 3 municipal budgets, and I participated in revamping most of the municipality's department. I was also in charge of improving communication with citizens. I sat at the MRC des Collines DG's table for 2 years. I was involved in several files that continue to have an impact on Chelsea today. Avec le départ de la mairesse Green et de la plupart des conseillers, je pense que mon expérience en tant que gestionnaire municipal pourrait être utile à la table du
10
conseil.
seconds.
Je suis le seul candidat du quartier Dieu qui a une plateforme électorale écrite.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Labrie. Thank you, Monsieur Labrie. Now passing over to Mr. Jeff White for your minute.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jeff. It's really great to be here. Much love to the Lowdown. Hopefully this debate won't be the worst joke of the week.
Yeah.
I've lived in Chelsea for almost 10 years, and I'm a proud father of an 8-year-old girl and a 6-year-old boy. I studied politics and drinking beer at McGill University, then went to law school at Windsor, where I also earned an MBA. I also have a graduate degree in law from the University of Oxford. My full-time job is as executive director and general counsel of an industry association comprised of competitive internet service providers. For 3 years in a row, I've taught part-time as a professor also, communications law at the University of Ottawa. I've been an on-call firefighter for the municipality of Chelsea for almost 9 years. a Beaver Scouts leader for 1 year, and I was part of Chelsea's Sports and Recreation Policy Committee. I've been a little bit involved in both
10
conservative
seconds.
politics and liberal politics. I ski in the winters, I run and ride in warmer months. I'm running on my record of community service in Chelsea and my hard skills. I'm a lawyer, a leader,
Time.
problem solver.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Thank you, Jeff White. We are now going to go to Ward 3, District 3, et je demande à Madame Brenda Brulotte de passer la parole maintenant, s'il vous plaît, Brenda.
Okay, merci beaucoup. My name is Brenda Brulotte, and I am running for the position of councillor in Ward 3. I recently retired from the federal public service, and as a result, I am looking for a full-time position with part-time pay. I'm a chartered accountant with a master's degree in project management, two areas that I believe would serve council quite well. I'm fluently bilingual. I live in Chelsea for the last 20 years. I have a cottage in Ward 3 and a family history in Ward 3 that dates back to 1955. I have visited every one of the more than 475 homes and engaged with hundreds of Ward 3 residents, which I just finished today. I've heard what you have to say, and I want to work with you and with the other members of council to build a
10
future
seconds.
for Chelsea that makes sense and that we can all be proud of. Thank you.
Merci, Brenda. Et je passe maintenant la parole à Madame Cybelle Wilson. Over to you for your 1-minute presentation, Cybelle.
Merci beaucoup. Bonsoir à tous, mais surtout bonsoir aux résidents du District 3. Je m'appelle Cybelle Wilson et je me présente en tant que candidate pour notre district, notre petit coin de paradis, mon chez-moi depuis 20 ans. Je suis diplômée de l'école secondaire Philemon Wright, où en 1993, j'ai accroché mes chaussons de ballet et je les ai remplacés avec des bottes de combat en m'enrôlant dans les forces armées canadiennes. I'm honored to have served my country for the last 28 years. As a healthcare administrator, I've deployed overseas, led troops, physicians, nurses, medical technicians as a commanding officer of 2 medical units. I'm committed to service, and this commitment to service, it runs deep. Having served my country, I want to work for you at the local level,
10 seconds.
not only as your voice in council, but also as a thank you to many of you who have supported me and my family as I was abroad or elsewhere in Canada.
Merci, Madame Wilson, Cybelle. We move now to Ward 4. Nous allons passer à District 4. Monsieur Christopher Blais, s'il vous plaît, pour votre minute de présentation.
Well, thank you to the Lowdown, the volunteers, the participants for engaging in our democracy, and also a sincere thank you to Elizabeth McPhee for running a positive and respectful campaign with me. Even though our family has lived here for more than 8 years, meeting my neighbors by walking door to door and having meaningful conversations with them has given me insight into what's important. A councillor needs to be accessible and transparent, listen to their residents, understand their concerns, and seek out their ideas and insights. I will continue to build relationships with this district's residents and leverage this great community's wealth of expertise. I was inspired to run because I really enjoyed serving Chelsea by volunteering on the Recreation, Sports, Culture, and Community Life Advisory Committee, and I believe I can do more. If elected, I will focus on protecting our environment, aligning development with our community's needs and vision, and supporting our seniors.
Merci. Thank you very much, Monsieur Blais. Christopher, we pass now to, for a minute, from Elizabeth McPhee. Oh, Elizabeth, you're on mute. Yeah, Trevor, start that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start now.
Okay. Je demeure dans le district 4 depuis 30 ans et j'ai été conseillère municipale à Chelsea durant 4 ans. Alors, donc, je peux contribuer dès le début et sans beaucoup d'apprentissage à la prise de décision dans ces affaires complexes. Je peux partager cette connaissance pour aider le conseil et le personnel à travailler de façon efficace. Mon approche pour chaque projet, considérer d'abord de façon méthodique tous les aspects, les risques et les conséquences. Prioriser les services de base et les infrastructures, dépensant prudemment. Travailler proactivement avec les propriétaires pour développer des quartiers innovatrices qui protègent le caractère unique de Chelsea.
10 seconds.
augmenter le dialogue entre la municipalité et ses résidents.
Merci, Elizabeth McPhee, Madame McPhee. Thank you to all for your words of presentation. Merci de votre introduction. Je passe maintenant à la première question pour les 7 candidats dans les quartiers. I'm now going to read the first question for all 7 candidates in the wards. Chelsea's motto is environment-friendly community. What are the most pressing local environmental problems, and what are the concrete actions that Chelsea can take over the next 4 years that would address these issues? La version française maintenant. La devise de Chelsea est vivre en harmonie avec l'environnement. Quels sont les problèmes environnementaux locaux les plus urgents et quelles sont les actions concrètes que Chelsea peut prendre au cours des 4 prochaines années pour résoudre ces problèmes? That is the first question, la première question. Et nous passons maintenant à Michael Bourassa, who will have 2 minutes. And Trevor, I just want to mention 2 minutes. I think we had said
20 second
20
warning.
seconds, yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Donc, je demande maintenant à Monsieur Michael Bourassa de répondre à la question. Vous avez 2 minutes, Monsieur Bourassa.
Merci. This is a great question. So Chelsea is already a green municipality, but we can always improve things. We need a plan, we need clear objectives, and we need to move forward. The City of Montreal has vowed to protect 10% of its territory by 2025. What are we doing in Chelsea? I think we can maybe protect 25% of our territory by 2025. We need ambitious goals and move forward so Chelsea also protect the environment. Protecting the environment go along really well with the master plan because it dictates like where we can build, what land we can protect, and what land doesn't make sense to develop. The new master plan will be dropped to the City Council closed in the near future. And I think we're gonna have to monitor it really closely so that there's clear rule about where we can build and where we shouldn't. I've been doing a lot of door-to-door and residents have been telling me that they want to get rid of one of their 2 cars. But to do that, they need public transportation. Right now with Transcolline, there's only 2 buses in the morning. If you miss them, you cannot go to work. If you have teenagers, you have to drive them around all over town. This is not environmentally friendly. So if I'm elected, I would like to work with Transcolline to improve the services that citizens have so they can drop one of their car. Also, I think we need to look at what other municipalities are doing. So for example, Kentley and Maniwaki are providing reusable diapers subsidy to their residents so they don't have to all go to waste. To me, it's also weird that the compost ends so early in the fall when people are cleaning their garden and picking up a leaf, and then they have to throw them in the garbage. This is not really environmentally friendly, and we should change the schedule a little bit. So basically, there's a lot of action the city could do, and I'll be happy to work with residents to hear their thoughts and ideas and put them into place. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Michael. Nous passons maintenant à M. Dominique Labrie. Dominique, over to you for your 2-minute response.
Merci. I'm the only candidate in Ward 2 who has a written electoral platform with 23 proposals. I note with satisfaction that the 2 candidates for mayor picked up some of my proposals. I think this illustrates how my experience and my knowledge of municipal issues can be an asset for the next council. My platform contains 5 proposals for the environment. We need to set a goal and develop a plan to be carbon neutral by 2050. Gatineau and several cities have already made this commitment. I would like us to integrate climate change into municipal decision-making process to ensure that every action of the municipality is driven by this objective. I strongly support the implementation of the active transportation master plan. And this is the most important, we need to put residential development on hold while we ensure the sustainability of our social and economic development. And I also agree with Acres' recommendation that we need to protect 30% of Chelsea land area, excluding the park, by 2030. And I must point out that my environmental platform has been praised by many, including FOG President Rita Jane, who was recently acclaimed in Ward 5.
20 seconds.
Ah, merci, Monsieur Labrie. Est-ce que vous avez terminé?
Oui, merci.
Oui. Parfait, merci beaucoup. Thank you, Monsieur Labrie. And now for the third candidate in Ward 2, Mr. Jeff White. Over to you, Mr.
Yeah, Chelsea's not an environmentally friendly community. I'm sorry to break the news to you. I think we all know what the image of Chelsea is, our logo. It's that covered bridge and a river. I think it's Meech Creek or the Gatineau River. But the way we're going these days, that's going to be a drive-through Starbucks in 20 years. We've got McDonald's that isn't here to serve us. We're busting at the seams with development. The big problem to the environment isn't the snowplows. The big problem to the environment is the overdevelopment we're doing. We're squandering land. We're filling in the village aggressively right now. And it's got to stop. And it will stop. If I'm part of the municipal council team, that's going to stop. Listen, I believe in climate change. Totally believe in climate change. I believe in a price on carbon. Quebec has a price on carbon. Federal government's also leading the way. By 2050, most of us are going to be in electric vehicles. The number one cause of pollution and the smog that we see here in winter, do you know what it is? And I hate to break it to you. It's not industry. It's not cars. It's wood burning stoves. And I'm not here to say we're going to tax wood burning stoves. We're going to stop developing, which I think everybody's saying. We're going to look at ways to improve transit. And we're going to be more realistic about what we can and cannot do.
Thank you, Mr. White. Have you completed? Yes, okay, wonderful. Merci, thank you. We now turn to Ward 3, candidate Madame Brenda Brulotte. Brenda, over to you for 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much. So Chelsea has already invested significantly in examining the issue of climate change and the environment. We have the Chelsea's greenhouse gas inventory, which is, however, dated in 2019, so would need to be brought up to date to reflect the impact of the pandemic on our practices. We also have a sustainable development plan, and we have a Chelsea climate change plan that was released this past June. So we don't need to start from scratch. We can and will, I would leverage as much as possible from those. However, I believe that we need to rethink how we undertake the management of the environment. Right now, these plans are a list of to-dos with costs that are attached to them, but no real prioritization and no integration with the day-to-day business of the municipality. Our municipal staff have been worked very hard over the last few years trying to fulfill all the promises and all the action plans that have been set out for them by council. I propose that we re-examine these plans and integrate them with the broader municipal responsibilities and work through them according to our means and our capacity in a manner that makes sense for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Madame Brulotte. We now second the other Ward candidate, Ward 3 candidate, Madame Cybelle Wilson. Over to you, Madame, for 2 minutes.
Merci beaucoup. Alors, le Conseil, en sortant, a en effet fait une déclaration d'urgence climatique. C'était une très bonne idée. Et ils ont passé des solutions nature envers de nombreux projets verts. What baffles me, however, is that I've recently seen some new bills that are excessive in size and that they are still being permitted. Now, and I'm going to disagree a tiny bit with Mr. White at the moment when it comes to the density and the building that's going on in the center town, because we know that high density living is actually less taxing on the environment than a sprawling community. Now, that said, let me get back to my original point when it comes to the large single home dwellings. These new builds that are being built that are 4,000, 5,000 square feet should not be approved by the municipality. And I would I would disagree with any proposal having to do so. Another concern for me is the overall health of our surrounding bodies of water. As someone who spent my summers on the Gatineau River swimming in Low Quebec, I want to work with groups like the Friends of the Gatineau and encourage partnerships and collaborations with neighboring communities of La Pêche, Cantley, to make sure that we are, and excuse me the pun, rowing in the same direction when it comes to safeguarding our rivers and lakes. I believe that this is truly important. We need to work with our neighboring communities in order to make sure that we can achieve, we can avoid the detrimental effects of climate change. Thank you.
Merci, Madame Wilson, Cybèle. Over to Ward 4 now, and Monsieur Christopher Blais. Over to you for 2 minutes.
Merci. Ce que j'ai entendu en rencontrant mes voisins dans le district 4, ainsi qu'en parlant avec des experts tels que Stephen Woodley-Baker ou Benoît Delage de Credo, est le suivant. Nous avons 2 crises environnementales sur les bras, une crise de carbone et une crise de la biodiversité. Nous devons protéger la forêt entre South Ridge, Radapaw Ridge et l'autoroute 5. Ce district a été clair. L'environnement, c'est une priorité. Ce que je vais faire, tout d'abord, pour la crise de carbone, nous devons réduire la consommation de combustibles fossiles et d'énergie afin de devenir neutre en carbone d'ici 2035. Nous avons besoin d'un système pour mesurer les émissions de carbone, de meilleurs codes de construction pour des logements plus efficaces. Nous devons réduire notre dépendance aux combustibles fossiles comme le chauffage à l'huile, et nous devons améliorer le transport actif et introduire le covoiturage. Pour la crise de la biodiversité, nous devons conserver 30% de nos forêts d'ici 2030 et protéger ces corridors écologiques. Acre a une carte pour y parvenir. Alors, travaillons avec eux pour y parvenir. Nous devons protéger les zones humides et les espaces bleus le long de la rivière Gatineau. En résumé, nous devons attaquer la crise de carbone et de la biodiversité, mais plus important encore, nous devons prendre avantage de l'expertise de classe mondiale ici à Chelsea et engager notre communauté d'une manière accessible et transparente pour obtenir des résultats.
Merci, merci M. Blais. Nous passons maintenant à Madame Elizabeth McPhee. Over to you for your 2 minutes.
I agree with you, Chris, about preserving the forests. And that's my first point, because that's what I see around us. And gee, that's what we've got in Chelsea. So how I would go about that is preserving blocks of forest lands to invest effort and staff time in working proactively with the current and the incoming land developers to create innovative ways of preserving parts of the forest properties that they'll be working on. This is the development outside of the villages and even some wooded areas in the villages. There are already in Chelsea some examples of new forest developments that have clustered homes like at Hendrick Farm in the village, but out in the country like the Chelsea Highlands, so that a lot of the land can be left in a conservation area with trails prioritized for us to use. So that way, with shorter and narrower low volume roads, for example, we can find ways where we can put these innovative methods into the bylaws to have the construction, which will go ahead, done in a better way that leaves us with the forests. With the climate change and carbon usage, I would make sure that the municipal administration looks at ecological concerns as well as efficiency when procuring vehicles, for example, so that the transition is in an orderly fashion that adequately protects our ability to provide services to deliver in a way that we can afford with our revenue. Waste collection, I would make sure that it's done in the most efficient method possible. For example, I look at the collection of hazardous waste, and is that all being done in the best way possible? And finally, explain to the public why things are the way they are to get them on board. There's a lot that people don't understand, but if they understood the whys, they'd be on board and they'd be with us.
Merci, Madame McPhee. Thank you. Et merci à tous les candidats et candidates pour vos réponses à la première question sur l'environnement. A very engaging and informative response from all of you. So we will now move to the second question, which I will read en français et en anglais. Chelsea has a housing problem. There is a lack of different kinds of housing, especially smaller, more affordable units or multi-generational homes. What measures can Chelsea take? Excuse me. What measures can Chelsea take to make sure our seniors, singles, and young people are not forced to move elsewhere? Chelsea a un problème de logement. Il y a un manque de différents types de logements, notamment de petites unités plus abordables ou de maisons multigénérationnelles. Quelles mesures Chelsea peut-elle prendre pour s'assurer que nos aînés, nos célibataires et nos jeunes ne soient pas obligés de déménager ailleurs? And I now pass to Michael in Ward 2, Michael Bourassa. Vous avez vos deux minutes.
So let me first start with senior housing. In the last visioning survey, senior housing was the #1 priority of residents in Chelsea. This service was also highly ranked in recent consultation. There have been discussion at council about having a Maison des Aînés, which is a Quebec project, a nice Quebec project to have a nice senior house. And there's actually discussion to have one of these houses in Quebec. So it would provide senior housing for a lot of residents. But there's also discussion about having another senior housing project close to Quartier Meredith in Chelsea. So if we can work with promoters, the government of Quebec, and other partners to make these projects come true, it will bring a lot of what citizens have been asking for. Citizens in Chelsea also want more services so they can walk, bike, and live car-free in the core of District 2. So if we bring in a new school, a kindergarten, a bank, and local shop, I'm not talking about McDonald's, but like community shop and local shop that serve the necessity of citizens, and we do that in a mixed-use building environment, it's going to create more apartment for people, and we need to densify the core. But at the same time, it's really important. We need to keep the look and the charm of Chelsea. We don't want the city to turn into a gray suburb. Like when you enter Chelsea, you need to be proud of what the city is about. But at the same time, we need to bring these services and more options to people so that they can live in. Affordable housing is a really touchy subject because in consultation, people are all for it. But when you say, oh, okay, we're going to build affordable housing in your backyard, they're against it. People in Chelsea don't want to live a high density. So I think we need to have more consultation on affordable housing. And also we're going to have to work with provincial and federal programs so that building can be subsidized and built at an affordable cost. Because if not, cost of land in Chelsea are really high and it's not going to be affordable at all. Thank you.
Merci, Michael Bourassa. Now passing over to Monsieur Dominique Labrie for your 2-minute response.
Merci. Everyone has been talking about the need for affordable housing, but I haven't seen a concrete solution put forward. We know for sure the federal programs are not a solution for us. The shortcomings of these programs are well known, and I don't think we can count on the developers and their $2,500 per month rentals. I believe the real solution is through the co-op model. On October 6, I met Raphaël Derry from the Fédération Intercoopérative en Habitation de l'Outaouais. He reminded me that once the municipality offers a lot, the co-op movement can help kickstart the project. They offer an extensive technical support service and have a large fund to finance projects. The municipality could finance its participation through a tax on building permit or by dedicating part of the transfer fees. Last year, the municipality collected $1.5 million more than anticipated in the transfer taxes. Putting it all on the debt management instead of taking care of our seniors is shameful. Let's be clear, I'm in favor of reducing our debt, but we must also take care of long-time residents who wish to stay in our community. I'm using the co-op model as an example, but there's other model too. Certaines personnes de la communauté connaissent d'autres modèles. Nous
20
devons
seconds.
utiliser leur savoir-faire et ça sera plus facile de le faire si les gens du quartier 2 élisent un candidat qui a l'expérience et la volonté politique de changer les choses. Merci.
Merci, Monsieur Labrie. Nous passons maintenant now over to Jeff White for your 2-minute response.
Thank you. I haven't really explained at all why I'm running for a seat, why I'm running in Ward 2, even though I live just on the edge of it in Ward 3. Ward 2 is not like Las Vegas. What happens in Ward 2 doesn't stay in Ward 2. It affects everyone outside of Ward 2. And what we're seeing is Chelsea's becoming like a mini version of London, England right now. It's a tourist city that caters to young people who are affluent. And we've got a lot of problems. The problems with seniors housing is well documented by the editor of the Lowdown in today's issue titled, How Did We Get Here? We all know how we got here. I'm hearing quite a bit of consensus in terms of the recognition of the need to fix it. But the only way we're going to fix that issue is if we stop catering to development and we put in a team, and you vote for a team that, first of all, aren't a bunch of jerks to each other. Secondly, have hard skills like lawyers, accountants, military experience. You put in a team that has the skills and the spine to negotiate concessions from developers. Future development must cater to the people who are getting older. I'm getting older, conflict of interest, but I want to live in Chelsea in the next 20 years of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White, Jeff White. We now move to Ward 3 and Brenda Brulotte, à vous pour 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. This conversation has to be broadened from seniors residence or seniors accommodation. I was speaking today to some residents, young couple, just had the first child, and they are afraid of being taxed out of their home. So it's not just to elderly or senior people on fixed income, it's happening to younger people as well. So affordable housing or a variety of housing is very important. Recently, my father passed away. I had hoped to be able to bring my mother over to Chelsea. We wanted to build an addition. The obstacles in order to add to an existing house was insurmountable. As a result, we are going to find her a home in Hull, not in Chelsea. I can't bring her home. So this is very important to me. And there are options. There are options via our master plan regulations that would enforce the requirement of developers to accommodate affordable housing in perpetuity. There are also other programs, as been previously mentioned, such as cooperatives, which are very successful elsewhere. And there are a number of options for rural environments, rural municipalities to houses and affordable housing. I would like to spend time as a council exploring these options and determining the best levers we have to finally come forward with something that's affordable and accessible
20 seconds.
to the young and to the older residents who are no longer in that middle ground buying the 5,000 square foot homes. Thank you.
Merci, Brenda Brulotte. We now pass to Cybelle Wilson pour 2 minutes, s'il vous plaît.
Merci beaucoup. Alors, c'est extrêmement inquiétant pour les membres d'un conseil futur que, premièrement, les personnes qui travaillent et fournissent des services à Chelsea ne peuvent pas se permettre de vivre ici. Deuxièmement, les jeunes, y compris nos enfants, sont incapables de s'acheter une maison chez eux. Puis là, je pense qu'on a quand même assez couvert le fait que les aînés auraient beaucoup de difficultés à rester à Chelsea. Mais quand on voit un article dans le Lowdown, qu'encore une fois, Jeff a montré, quand un maire, un ancien maire, est inquiet de pouvoir rester à Chelsea, moi, je trouve ça, c'est extraordinaire, puis je trouve ça très bouleversant. Alors, what I do know about people living in Chelsea, though, is that we're actually part of the solution. We are fortunate, and we are also very generous. And this has been proven time and time again through local and international fundraising efforts or the sponsoring and providing support to Syrian refugees. Our approach to the affordability issue needs to follow the same principles of being socially conscious and highlight our generosity as a community. It means working with developers that share these same values and clearly develop criteria that favor affordability. We need to be balanced and socially conscious in our approach, knowing that this is an issue well beyond the borders of Chelsea by engaging provincial and federal governments as
20
well,
seconds.
especially when it comes to seniors housing. Merci.
Merci, Madame Wilson. Nous passons maintenant à District 4, Ward 4, Christopher Blais, pour 2 minutes.
Thank you. I met a lot of seniors in this community the past few weeks. People have lived here for 30, 40 years, some in the same house that they built. They not only built their homes, but they also helped build this community. They fear they might have to leave Chelsea because they have no other options. Seniors are the fastest growing population in Canada. They're also vital community leaders here in Chelsea. Also heard that some families have been denied in-law suites on their properties, and that the alternative was to go on a wait list that had over 400 names on it for 12 beds. We could have mandated developers to include affordable and accessible housing in their development, but we didn't. What I will do is, first of all, allow in-law suites, secondary suites, attached or detached. 2, negotiate with developers by looking at density and zoning in exchange for affordable and accessible housing. It's been done. For example, Langford, BC has a program that for every 10 units built, 1 has to be affordable for people who lived here for more than 2 years. I will study these programs and other, including feasibility studies for a housing fund to incentivize builders to construct affordable and accessible housing. Also look at programs like aging in place services that provide help with transportation to grocery stores or doctor's offices so people can stay in their homes. To recap, we need more flexibility with in-law suites. We need to negotiate with developers to add
20
affordable,
seconds.
accessible housing to the mix, and study successful programs in other communities to find the right fit for Chelsea. How we do this is important. We need to listen to our seniors, identify their needs and barriers, and engage the community like some local builders to solve this problem. And we need to do this now.
Time.
Merci, Monsieur Blais. Thank you, Mr. Blais, Christopher. Over to you, Elizabeth McPhee, for 2 minutes, please.
For this important topic that it does involve all kinds of people, as Brenda and others have said, the first step before proceeding is to prioritize, invest some staff time and council time into doing some open-minded research. And I would draw on 2 topics. One is developments, and the other is infill and add-on housing to existing residences. So for developments, I would run a focus group to get expert input on what circumstances and business models and municipal regulations would incentivize developers to build lower cost and rental homes and apartments. So I would involve Chelsea's urbanism staff, a councillor, some residents, and invite 2 parties, all the current and potential developers in Chelsea, and philanthropic developers in Gatineau and Ottawa, especially any who live in Chelsea. Second, for infill and add-on housing in existing lots inside and outside the villages, there's potential to look at some new ways of doing things. One is an innovative bylaw adjustments that would allow additional smaller livable sized dwelling, either attached or separate, on lots that have a small principal dwelling at present, that therefore has current excess capacity of well water and septic system or municipal water and sewer. And examples of this would allow for multi-generational living on the lot, as Brenda was saying. It could allow for rental accommodation
20
for any
seconds.
kinds of people who are looking for it. Third is the co-op model. As Dominic mentioned, this could be a way for individuals to create their own opportunities for their own small scale affordable living that they set up themselves.
Time.
Bonjour. OK. Merci beaucoup à tous les candidats et candidates pour vos réponses aux deux questions. Clearly, we're listening to, and we have the good fortune this evening to be listening to candidates who are committed, informed, engaged, and service-oriented. C'est un plaisir d'être à l'écoute de candidats qui se sont informés, qui sont dévoués et impliqués et qui sont misés sur le service aux citoyens. So thank you for your responses. We will now move to the two mayoral candidates. And we will start the mayoral candidates' presentation in alphabetical order by surname. So we will start with Monsieur Pierre Guénard and then with Madame Shelley Fraser with 2 minutes to present yourselves, and then we will ask 3 questions. Je vais poser 3 questions après que vous vous présentez pendant 2 minutes chacun. Je passe maintenant le microphone à Monsieur Pierre Guénard pour 2 minutes de présentation. Go ahead, Trevor.
Okay.
Oh, Monsieur Guénard?
Okay. Oui, j'avais de la difficulté avec mon audio.
Start again,
mais,
Trevor.
Okay. Mais juste une question. C'est parce que vous avez mentionné par ordre alphabétique du nom de famille.
Oui.
Dans mon alphabet, c'est F, G.
Pardon. Oui, pardon. Merci de la correction. Voilà. We will start with, and I will practice my alphabet for the next forum. Madame Fraser, Shelley, we will start with you, and my apologies to you. And over to you, Shelley, for 2 minutes.
All good. I'm still working on my alphabet as well, so it's bonjour, je m'appelle Shelley. My name is Shelley, and I'm honored to be here with you tonight. I've decided to throw my name into the ring so that I could share the stage with Pierre. Pierre, I'm honored to share with you. I'm here because I believe in democracy, and I believe that as a community, we need to come together and discuss really important issues as we move forward. Throughout the last couple of weeks, I've learned a lot, I've listened a lot, and I've learned some more. I have a very curious mind. And I also, whoop, can you guys hear me? Okay, I'm getting feedback. I have committed to learning French after November 7th. Win or lose at my own expense. This is a full-time thing where I just want to really let you guys know that if I secure this position, I will take it very seriously and it will be a full-time job. What is my experience? My experience is that I've worked in technology for the last 20 years. I'm sorry, I'm going to turn off the translation because it's really giving me some weird feedback. I worked in technology for the last 20 years. I am a member of the CIO Council. I've contributed to ethical AI standards in Canada, and I am a signature of the IT pledge for greenhouse gas emissions for sustainable IT. In addition to that, with an entrepreneurial edge, I know what it's like to work hard, to have very long nights, to really make sure that you get your work done when you need to. In addition, I've worked in politics.
20 seconds.
Politics for 10 years, and I worked for finance, industry, Department of Foreign Affairs, and I'm a huge community supporter. I love the community. I've dedicated a lot of time to community. I've sent over 800 kids to a school in Africa, and I love where we live.
Time.
Merci, Madame Fraser. Thank you, Shelley. Now over to Pierre Guénard.
Mayoral candidates.
Now over to Monsieur Pierre Guénard for his 2-minute presentation. À vous, monsieur.
Merci. Merci beaucoup. Merci pour l'organisation au Lowdown, pour l'accueil puis l'opportunité d'être capable de parler avec la population. Merci à Mme Fraser d'avoir mis son nom pour la démocratie de Chelsea. Et merci aux candidats ce soir pour ces beaux échanges. Il me fait vraiment plaisir d'être ici avec vous et de participer. Je suis Pierre Guénard, candidat à la mairie de Chelsea pour le prochain 4 ans. Je suis un candidat, un conseiller municipal depuis 8 ans maintenant. Puis, je veux continuer, dans le fond, de redonner à la communauté, une communauté que j'aime et que j'apprécie énormément. Il y a 15 ans, je tenais à offrir un milieu de vie favorable à ma famille dans une communauté bilingue et je suis fier que mes enfants aient grandi à Chelsea, dans une communauté si dynamique avec un esprit communautaire qui est incroyable. Étant un amateur de sport de plein air, Chelsea était, comme plusieurs d'entre nous, un choix qui était naturel. Dès le début, je me suis impliqué bénévolement auprès de l'École du Grand Boisé, des clubs de soccer et de baseball, ainsi qu'avec Sentier Chelsea Trails pour la construction de sentiers locaux dans le secteur 2. I think Chelsea is a super bilingual community, and that is why we chose Chelsea to raise our family. I have worked for the community during the last 8 years as a counselor in Ward 2, and I was president of Recreation Natural Resource Committee. I was also a member of the Health Committee and the Chelsea Foundation.
20
And
seconds.
I'm willing to put my teaching career on hold forward to be the next mayor of Chelsea, and I would like to be the first full-time mayor of the municipality and to work in collaboration with the members of the council.
Time.
Merci, merci beaucoup Pierre et Shelley for your introductions, pour vos présentations. We will pass now to the first question. Je vais vous poser la première question. Et voilà, la question c'est Chelsea's motto is environment friendly community. What are the most pressing local environmental problems and what are the concrete actions that Chelsea can take over the next 4 years that would address these issues? La devise de Chelsea est vivre en harmonie avec l'environnement. Quels sont les problèmes environnementaux locaux les plus urgents et quelles sont les actions concrètes que Chelsea peut prendre au cours des 4 prochaines années pour résoudre ces problèmes? And I would now ask Madame Fraser, Shelley, for your 2-minute response.
We all have moved to Chelsea because we love nature. That is what Chelsea offers. It's not suburbia, it's nature. As we move forward, we need to think about the decisions we make and the impacts that they have on our lifestyle. What happens to our habitat? What happens to our community corridors? What happens as we move throughout our community? If the weather and the temperature and the climate changes, it will have impacts on us. We're already seeing it through culvert damage to our roads, through our land security. You look at the slide on the number 5, we need to think about what we're doing to be future forward to make sure that we have modern solutions to these issues. When I think about how do we support going forward, how are we building? Are we using the right materials? If you ask elders, they say they don't want bigger. They don't want it at all. The same for youth. They want smaller dwellings. They want to make sure that they're minimalistic so their impact is less on the environment. When I think about transportation, we need to think outside the box. Do we have car share? Are we thinking about electrification? What about if you have a new home, did you have a plug-in for your potentially new electric car? The same for developments. How are we considering how the municipality leads by example? Do we have a digital first environment? How are we using renewables? I don't think gas is the answer. We have hydro in our backyards. The UN has challenged us to 30%. I think as Chelsea stewards, we all have an obligation to consider how we protect 30% of our land.
20 seconds.
Thank you. In addition, we should keep ourselves accountable. Do we have an ESG scorecard? We need the metrics. We need to know how much water we're using. We need to know this because as the climate changes, our wells can run dry. If you have water, make sure it's metered.
Time.
Merci, Madame Fraser. Thank you. And over to you, Monsieur Guénard, Pierre, for 2-minute response.
Merci. Climate change and protecting our natural resources is important to me. And I always voted in favor of many environmental resolutions in the past 8 years. One of my first actions as mayor will be to change the mandate of Advisory and Natural Resource Committee to be a biodiversity and climate change committee with citizens' participation and our local experts from Acre and FOG. All that in collaboration. This committee will advise council on the other municipal and also the other municipal department on environmental issue in the community and propose solutions. As a community, we need to take action to protect against the impact of climate change, like flooding, landslides, washout. We've had many incidents and our infrastructure needs continual work. Public Works told me that the work that we've done up to date saved at least a dozen roads during the flash flood of 2017. This means these investments are in preparedness, save money for taxpayer in the long run. We need to protect what we still have: forests for GHGs, wetlands to protect our water tables, and biodiversity in our ecosystem. I will be working in collaboration with the next council to sit down with landowners to preserve the forest and limit also the impact
20
on
seconds.
biodiversity. We need to retain the corridors for wildlife and preserve our canopy. We need to continue active transportation investment, and we need to have all our plans and policies to be under the master plan. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Guénard, and thank you to both of you. I will now read the second question in English and French. Chelsea has a housing problem. There is a lack of different kinds of housing, especially smaller, more affordable units or multi-generational homes. What measures can Chelsea take to make sure our seniors, singles, and young people are not forced to move elsewhere? Chelsea a un problème de logement. Il y a un manque de différents types de logements, notamment de petites unités plus abordables ou de maisons multigénérationnelles. Quelles mesures Chelsea peut-elle prendre pour s'assurer que nos aînés, nos célibataires et nos jeunes ne soient pas obligés de déménager ailleurs? And now, Madame Fraser, Shelley, over to you for your 2-minute response.
Perfect. It comes back to protecting what we love and providing what we need. And right now, what we need is affordable housing, inclusive community building. I've spoken to elders. They don't want standalone places. They want to be included in community. They don't want big. They want smarter. They want more innovative. They are asking us to provide this for them so that they can have a wonderful connected standard of life with us. They're one of the biggest demographics in our area, and they're being forced out. The same is true for youth. Youth want to be here. They want to support local business. They don't have buses. They don't have e-transportation. They don't even have a place where they can afford the rent. We need to include them in our planning. Urban planning is at the core of all of this. The youth want to be here. They want to be walkable, and we need to be considerate about how we cluster our essential services for this group as well. We need to include granny suites. We need to include coach houses for people so that they can create this opportunity for B-Gen housing so that they can have their parents on site with them. Look at New Zealand. They just changed a regulation that people could add another layer on their homes because they understood that for us to be successful, we have to work together. There are incredible models around the world. Think of Finland, think of Norway, etc. You know, we can do this if we bring the best minds together to talk about these issues and focus on what the needs are of our population. And I would like to understand why.
20 seconds.
With 3 developments, not one of them offered seniors housing. Not one of them delivered what they promised.
Thank you, Madame Fraser. Merci. Et nous passons maintenant à Monsieur Guénard, Pierre, pour 2 minutes de réponse, s'il vous plaît.
Merci beaucoup. So,
Question about housing.
Chelsea is a community where people come to start their life, their families and their life.
No.
Ah,
Excusez, j'ai du bruit
Pierre.
en arrière.
Oui, pourriez-vous juste, une petite note, pourriez-vous juste parler un peu plus, hausser le volume un petit peu plus, s'il vous plaît, de votre réponse? Quand vous parlez à voix plus forte, s'il vous plaît.
Parfait, ben, je vais recommencer.
Okay, so Trevor will start again.
Okay.
Okay. Chelsea is a community where people come to start their families. They are involved in their community, and when the children grow up, the houses become too big and they need housing opportunity or downsizing. It is the same for young people who, once in the job market, after their studies, they cannot return to their community. We can work on this. And this is touching me deeply because my daughter was talking to me this week. She came back for her study break and she said, you know, Daddy, will I be able to come back to Chelsea one day with my family to raise one? So municipality have a role to play in creating the conditions for affordable housing. The key to adding variety of choice in Chelsea is to use spot zoning that allows for small units and density in very limited ways. This is the incentive required for developers to act, and it is the trade-off that needs to be discussed in this new master plan. I don't think that we need very many of these units to serve our small population, so we need to be very strategic if we choose to do this. The next council will have a lot to consider. This is a complex issue, but many municipalities are doing interesting projects to create more variety, and we need to pay attention to what is successful elsewhere. So co-op, small homes, and granny flats attached to larger residents are also
20 seconds
worth discussing. So we need to look at the best practices that are done elsewhere, and we need to implement them here in Chelsea with the collaboration of the next council. And what I hear tonight is it's music to my ears, and I like that because it's already well aligned. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Guénard, Pierre, and thank you for bringing your microphone a bit closer to your mouth. That worked very well. Merci beaucoup. So the third question for the mayoral candidates, which I'll read in English and French. Chelsea's Centre Village has changed dramatically over the last decade. Both mayoral candidates have said the fast pace of development is a concern. Chelsea Creek, Quartier Meredith, and Hendrick Farm all have commercial development plans that have, for all intents and purposes, been approved. Would you suggest a freeze on development projects that are already approved or in the pipeline? Would you suggest a freeze on any new proposals for the Centre Village?
Well, I don't know. Can they do it? Would you suggest? Can they?
I'm hearing someone. Now no longer. Okay, wonderful. La question en français. Le centre du village de Chelsea a changé de façon spectaculaire au cours de la dernière décennie. Les deux candidats à la mairie ont déclaré que le rythme rapide du développement est une préoccupation. Chelsea Creek, le quartier Meredith et Hendrick Farm ont tous des plans de développement commercial qui ont été approuvés à toute fin utile. Suggérez-vous un gel des projets de développement déjà approuvés ou en cours de réalisation? Suggérez-vous un gel de toute nouvelle proposition pour le centre du village? And for this question, we will reverse the alphabetical order. Donc, on va demander à M. Pierre Guénard. Pierre, over to you for your response, your 2-minute response.
Okay, merci beaucoup. So, prior to being on council, it was adopted in 2011, a master plan with guidelines. These guidelines are what we see right now in the village. We've been implementing it. We've seen the 3 developments, and they do respect the previous master plan guidelines. But now, it is time for us to review how we move forward. And that is what I want to do with collaboration of the next council. I like what I hear, and I believe that we will be able to bring variety to the offer. I will be working on this new master plan with the new council, and the process of getting them up to speed on the work we have done to date is a perfect opportunity to revisit and discuss. The new council will be able to share with each other what we heard during the election, and we will ensure that the new master plan will reflect public views. We listened, we heard, we will make the necessary changes. For me, it's clear that we need controlled growth that is strategic and beneficial to residents. Things to add services for local and reduce travel away from Chelsea are happening already, and that should continue. We rely on the engagement of the residents to make sure that we understand and that we take decisions that reflect your needs. Smart incentivized development is what will give us what we need. What is the best use of the land
20
we have in the
seconds.
village, what needs protecting, what needs to be, and where. We also need leverage spot zoning strategically to make things we want happen. We need diversity in housing for older people and people just starting out. It's the first phase of development. It was hard to do this, but as we slow
That's your
down
time.
and reflect.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Guénard. Thank you, Pierre. And
Go
over
better.
to you. Over to you, Shelley Fraser, Madame Fraser, pour votre réponse, for your answer.
Merci, thank you. So development, let's talk about development. Development did not deliver what they said they were going to deliver. Where is the seniors housing? Where is the farm? Where are the protected corridors? Why is the sound on the 5 over 60 decibels? And why are the trees dying along that ridge? Where are the affordable rentals? We have accommodation in our center village for guests, for tourists. We've bulldozed over, our wetlands. We haven't planned for our schools and daycares. Our roads are a mess, and we run out of infrastructure for the demand and the needs we have. We need a modern urban plan where there are checks and balances, where developers are held accountable and there's an incremental way and pace for which they have to deliver what they say they promise. They have to contribute in a way for our shared value. We live here. We love it here. We don't want to lose what we love. We need an inclusive plan. We need our communities at the table. We need to talk about these things before the decisions are made, not after. They need to deliver what they say they were going to deliver. We can't continue to put the tax burden on the backs of the new homeowners and the existing residents. This is an issue.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Fraser. Thank you very much, Madame Fraser, for your answer. Un grand merci aux candidats à la mairie pour vos commentaires, vos réponses aux 3 questions. Thank you to both mayoral candidates for your answers to the questions. And once again, at the mayoral level, you have 2 candidates who are engaged, committed, informed, and service-oriented to the community. So, c'est encore une fois, les candidats à la mairie, comme les candidats dans vos quartiers aussi, se sont informés, sont dévoués à la communauté et veulent servir la communauté. Donc, c'est vraiment, c'est grandement apprécié. Nous allons maintenant passer aux questions de vous, les citoyens. We will now start with the questions from you, citizens. And just a reminder, if you have not sent in a question, you can send it to questions, plural, at questionschelsea@gmail.com, question pluriel chelsea@gmail.com, ou bien sur Zoom, cliquez sur chat au bas de votre écran. Ensuite, cliquez sur le blue drop-down box au bas de l'écran à droite. Et ensuite, cliquez sur question et tapez votre question et cliquez sur send. Donc, nous allons commencer maintenant avec la première question que je vais lire. Et je lis la question dans la langue qu'elle a été envoyée. I will be reading the question in the language that it was sent to us by. It is from Allison Quinlan, and it is to the Ward 4 candidates. Chelsea has a number of committees which are open to the public, including a community trail committee. Would you support the creation of a climate change committee to help Chelsea achieve carbon neutral status by 2035? That question is addressed to the Ward 4 candidates. So I will now turn to Christopher Blais, and you have 1 minute to respond. Christopher, over to you for a response.
Thanks for your question, Allison. And quick answer is yes. I'll see whatever time I have left to describe that. We have to absolutely leverage Chelsea's residents, not only for their expertise, we have world-class scientists in this town, but also for their passion. I want to listen. I want to work with these experts and our residents. to find the solutions that are critical for our community. So quick answer, yes, absolutely.
Merci, Christopher, pour votre réponse. And now let's ask Elizabeth McPhee.
Just give me one sec.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, Elizabeth, you can start.
I would set up a committee because of the interest and the importance of this, a committee of staff and residents and a counselor like other committees to recommend ways to reduce carbon usage in an ongoing way by municipal operations and by residents and by the way that our community is set up, rather than commit to a particular date. And this is because technologies and other factors will continue to change and evolve and offer opportunities that we don't foresee right now, and also pose risks to our well-being and municipal functioning that we don't yet foresee. So I would aim at the target as
10 seconds.
you, Chris, but I would not set a timeline other than to work efficiently as quickly as we can within the realities as they evolve.
Okay. Thank you to both Ward 4 candidates, Christopher Blais and Elizabeth McPhee, for your answers. The second question is from Kathy Graham, and it's to the mayoral candidates. Et c'est en français. Pouvez-vous expliquer comment vous allez travailler avec le ministère des Transports du Québec pour améliorer la sécurité des piétons et les voies de transport actifs sur le chemin Old Chelsea, avec une attention particulière aux zones scolaires? And let's start with Shelley Fraser. Madame Fraser, over to you for 1 minute response, please.
Yeah, safety of citizens in the downtown core is definitely of top of mind. It is tricky on Old Chelsea Road where it's provincial, but there are standards where roads have to be kept in a certain state over time. We know at that intersection of the Gatineau Park, there are 2.5 million tourists that go through each year. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of movement. I think that knowing that the NCC is also there, we abut on their territory, we need to work with them and our provincial allies to ensure that we have the right approach to walkability, the right approach to bikes and e-bikes, making sure that the future of our roadways really consider the fact that
10
we
seconds.
want sustainability, low emissions, but we also want safety, and safety means multi-use. So this needs more eyes around the table, experts that can discuss it.
Merci. Thank you very much, Madame Fraser. Shelley. Maintenant, à vous, Monsieur Guénard. Pierre, pour votre réponse d'1 minute.
Oui, alors merci beaucoup pour la question. La sécurité routière, c'est quelque chose que j'ai à cœur et qui me tient particulièrement engagé, surtout que j'ai travaillé très fort pendant 8 ans pour améliorer les choses. Il n'y a pas si longtemps, c'était 70 km/h sur Old Chelsea. Maintenant, c'est 50. Pourquoi? Parce qu'on a travaillé en collaboration avec le MTQ. Comme prochain maire, je suis prêt à m'asseoir avec Robert Bussière, qui est notre député, avec Mathieu Lacombe, qui est le ministre de la Famille, et en plus avec François Bonnardel, qui est le ministre des Transports. Et on va être capable ensemble de trouver une solution pour notre village, parce qu'on n'est pas le seul village avec des situations avec une école sur une route provinciale et aussi avec des enjeux de sécurité. Nous avons un plan de transport actif. Et lorsque j'ai parlé avec François Bonnardel en 2019, il était impressionné que la communauté avait un plan de transport actif pour la sécurité de ses citoyens. Donc, je suis prêt à m'engager avec les paliers gouvernementaux nécessaires.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Guénard. The next question is in English, and it's addressed to the mayoral candidates from Richard Hoffer. As mayor, will you ensure that all Chelsea taxpayers can still receive municipal services in either of Canada's official languages, even if Quebec Bill 96 is adopted? And we'll switch the order and we'll ask Monsieur Guénard, Pierre, pour votre réponse. Vous avez 1 minute.
Oui. So thank you, Mr. Offer, for your question. As I did twice during my past 8 years, I support the bilingualism of Chelsea. I voted in favor the 2 times that we had the resolution on having Chelsea a bilingual community, and I will keep doing that again as the next mayor. And yes, the tax bill, we as a service, a basic service, I engage myself that it will be translated so that the French resident taxpayer and the English resident taxpayer will receive their document in the language and that they speak
10 seconds.
so that they can understand everything. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Gaynard. Madame Fraser, over to you for your 1-minute response, please.
Thank you. I agree with Pierre. I agree that we should understand the numbers that are shared with us. The debt level is quite high. If you haven't noticed it in the latest report, in 3 years, the debt level will be $76 million. If you were to look at that on the back of each voter, that's almost $13,000 per voter. So we need to understand these numbers. And I completely agree with Pierre that yes, it would be agreeable to have this type of report in both French and English.
Thank you, Madame Fraser. Merci. We now go to the 4th question, which is in English, from Marieke Winkeldermatt, District 3. I remember vividly that Ward 3 candidate Brenda Brulotte spoke up strongly against the community trail during the consultation process. To many residents, the Bois Vert has great value as community building mechanism. I read Brenda's slogan to be community building that makes sense. What does community building mean to each of the Ward 3 candidates? And I'll look to both Ward 3 candidates, and starting with Madame Brenda Brulotte for your 1-minute response.
Yes, well, thank you very much for the opportunity to address that. When we were doing the consultations 4 years ago, my issue with the project and with the planned trail was that there was no budget, there was no plan, and the vision was not clear. The residents had supported a 2.5 meter path to connect the residents across the corridor. And we've now found ourselves with a 4.5 meter road. So I still stand by the fact that at that point, there was no budget and there was no plan. Now it's a done deal. Everyone is enjoying it, and
10 seconds.
move on. Okay, thank you very much.
Merci, Madame Brulotte. Thank you, Brenda. And over to you, Madame Cybele Wilson, for your 1-minute response.
Thank you for the question. You know, it was a bit bittersweet 4 years ago because I remember the Steen Trail and I had a lot of romantic past memories about it as a child, going up, putting a little penny on it, having the train run over it. But you know, progress is good, and process worked this time. The vision did work in the end. The trail arrived just in time when at the beginning of a pandemic, which just ravaged many of our souls and just left us feeling empty. I can tell you that I went on that trail almost every morning in the early days of the pandemic to watch the sunrise, just to see that another brighter day was coming. So I'm a fan of the trail. I love the trail. And I think it has been a great community builder, especially during a very difficult time.
10 seconds.
Thank you very much, Madame Wilson, Cybele. The next question is in English, and it's from Patrice Hall, Ward 3.
Mm-hmm.
In the years to come, how might we strike a healthy balance for commerce in our community? What are some ways we can support, encourage local entrepreneurs and smaller creative businesses to thrive alongside larger enterprises?
Mm-hmm.
So let's reverse the order for that one. This time, Madame Wilson, over to you, Cybele, for your 1-minute response. Oh, you're on mute. Can you go off mute?
Oui, pourriez-vous juste répéter la fin? J'ai manqué.
Oui, oui.
Désolée.
Juste la fin de la question.
Répétez-la, s'il vous plaît.
OK. Un instant, là, je vais... oui. Okay. The question is from Patrice Hall of Ward 3. In the years to come, how might we strike a healthy balance for commerce in our community? What are some ways we can support, encourage local entrepreneurs and smaller creative businesses to thrive alongside larger enterprises?
Okay, well, thank you for that, Patrice. I think we are community leaders when it comes to inviting business over in Chelsea. I think we have a wonderful center town right now where business is absolutely booming. And I do believe that the community has been very supportive of its local business. Also, I'm going to refer to the pandemic again, where the community banded together and really supported local business. I think it's thriving, and I think that we should keep it up. Thank you.
Merci. Thank you, Madame Wilson. And over to you, Brenda Brulotte, for your 1-minute answer.
Yes. In terms of encouraging initiative in terms of businesses, I think that we should examine the zoning that requires that only residential is residential. With the pandemic, people have changed how they operate, and many are operating small businesses within their home. And they're doing that right now against the master plan as it currently stands. So it is something that we would have to examine, and I would say that we could facilitate. The other thing is we should be looking at a different variety of businesses, particularly cultural, and things such as theater and dance, where Wakefield has done very successfully
10 seconds.
Their film, and we could look at opportunities to improve the variety of services and experiences we can offer.
Time.
Merci. Thank you, Madame Brulotte, and for those, and Madame Wilson. The next question en français de Gabriel Allaire au candidat à la mairie. Dans le cadre de la refonte des règlements d'urbanisme de la municipalité en 2022, que considéreriez-vous afin de préserver le caractère rural et traditionnel de Chelsea? And Mr. Guénard, we will start with you this time. Pierre, over to you for your 1-minute response.
Alors, merci beaucoup, M. Allaire, pour votre question. Donc, donc c'est ça. Pour préserver le caractère rural. Donc, pour préserver le caractère rural, on a eu un beau projet qui a été mis de l'avant par une participation citoyenne incroyable, qui est la préservation de la forêt de l'étang par la population. Ça démontre vraiment un engagement qui est important, puis au niveau social. Puis la municipalité se doit de prendre les moyens d'agir pour répondre aux besoins des citoyens, des résidents. Donc, c'est pourquoi il faut reconnaître les corridors écologiques sur notre territoire. Il faut trouver des façons novatrices pour limiter l'impact naturel des projets, tout en protégeant, dans le fond, nos boisés puis nos milieux naturels. Et aussi, il faut collaborer avec les résidents qui sont engagés et avec nos organismes comme Acre, avec les experts, pour avoir leur opinion.
Time.
Merci, M. Guénard. Pierre, and now over to you, Madame Fraser-Shelley, for your 1-minute response.
Great. In my platform, I wrote that, we need to really be implementing an innovative, smart, and efficient design architecture.
Mesures innovatives.
I'm sorry, there's back noise again.
Yeah, let's stop the timer, Trevor. Just run the test there, Shelley, just a little bit.
I'll do a test. There we go.
Okay, I think we're fine now. So great. let's start again.
Guys, I feel like I'm
no
problems here. Okay, so in my platform, basically, we suggested that we look at smart, efficient design, architectural best practices and principles in Chelsea by updating our bylaws to preserve our natural community character while providing sustainable, inclusive housing options and essential daily services for Chelsea residents. What we mean by that is Chelsea offers nature. We don't offer concrete. We don't want to offer something that is more in suburban look and feel. We want to make sure that we offer what we need, not what we want. And when we get to those places of what we want, we need to consider, how do we use new models? Can we have, extracted development contribution? Can we look at using land trusts? Can we look at protecting
10 seconds.
conservation zones? There are ways that we can modernize our bylaws to ensure that we have the right look and feel for Chelsea that's in line with the values of our population.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madame Fraser-Shelley. The next question is for the Ward 2 councillors. Et ça vient de Monsieur J.F. Boucher, District 2. En français, plusieurs jeunes familles s'établissent à Chelsea. Pour que les enfants s'épanouissent en grandissant dans notre communauté, que planifiez-vous faire pour les enfants à court et moyen terme en termes de garderie, d'école primaire et secondaire, de parcs et de sécurité pour le transport actif? Donc, I will now turn to Michael Bourassa from Ward 2 pour votre réponse d'1 minute.
Merci, M. Boucher, pour votre question. Donc, selon moi, il faut travailler avec les partenaires comme la Commission scolaire des portages de l'Outaouais et avec les promoteurs pour faire avancer les projets. Je sais que l'école du Grand Boisé est pas mal pleine, donc on a besoin d'une nouvelle école à Chelsea. Donc, je travaillerai avec les partenaires et les autres conseillers pour que le projet se réalise. Il manque aussi beaucoup de places de garderie. Donc, il nous faut des services justement pour que nos enfants puissent grandir et des services qui répondent aux citoyens. Il n'y a pas non plus de clinique médicale à Chelsea. C'est un besoin qui est exprimé par beaucoup de citoyens. Et justement, les petits commerces locaux et des parcs, des attraits qui vont faire que nos enfants vont pouvoir grandir avec une bonne éducation, des services qu'ils ont besoin et en même temps qu'on garde le charme, le look de Chelsea. Et moi, j'ai choisi Chelsea pour établir ma famille ici et j'aimerais la faire avancer dans cette direction-là. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, M. Bourassa. Michael, nous passons maintenant à Dominique Labrie pour votre réponse d'1 minute.
Je vous remercie pour votre question, M. Boucher. En effet, j'ai fait le tour des bientôt j'aurai terminé les 650 portes du district. J'ai rencontré les gens et je l'entends partout. Lorsqu'on cogne aux portes, on voit des femmes enceintes, des jeunes familles qui sont avec des jeunes enfants qui sont inquiètes de ne pas avoir de place à Grand Boisé, de ne pas avoir de place en garderie. Les parents font du télétravail. Mais ils doivent quand même aller conduire le matin et le soir à Hull ou à Gatineau leurs enfants dans les garderies. Ce n'est pas l'idéal non plus pour les changements climatiques. Donc, moi, ce que je propose d'abord, c'est la pause sur le développement. Ça ne donne rien d'avoir 500 ou 1000 nouveaux résidents si on n'est pas capable de subvenir au minimum nécessaire pour les familles actuelles. Je propose aussi d'implanter le plan de transport actif qui est développé par la municipalité.
Merci. Merci beaucoup, M. Labrie, Dominique. Et nous passons maintenant à Mr. Jeff White. Over to you for your 1-minute response.
Great. I had my hand up because I really wanted to jump on this Bill 96 question. Bill 96 is veiled racism. I will vigorously oppose it. Quebec is a distinct society, absolutely, but we must have bilingual services accessible to all. Regarding transportation, I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. I'm one of those Lycra wearing middle-aged guys who's trying to stay fit. I nearly got hit by a car, distracted driving on Scott Road. A car came and just nearly clipped me, ran over the bollards. Remember when we had 3,000 bollards on Scott Road? What a waste of money that was. You elect a good council that has good skills and is not afraid of bullies. We'll work with better policing, and we're going to work with developers to ensure they've got smartly designed streets. We're going to work with the NCC. We're going to put in a congestion charge if we have to get our fair share of resources and revenue from all the traffic that's coming over. 10 seconds to go. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White. Jeff, I will now go to the next question, which is addressed to the mayoral candidates. And it is a question from Jennifer Crawley to the mayors. Will you open the currently closed portion of council meetings so that residents can see how decisions are being taken by council and allow councillors to directly respond to residents during question period? And let's start with Madame Shelley Fraser for your 1-minute response.
Thank you very much for your question. I believe in an open and inclusive council where the people can have a chance to participate in the process. I do believe that the council, if you look around this beautiful Zoom call right now, incredibly smart, knowledgeable people that are representing their wards. In my opinion, I feel that they should be able to respond to questions. We're moving forward. Digital inclusiveness is important. Opt-in engagement is also important. Sometimes people don't want to be at every single council meeting, but they want to be at the ones that are important to them. We have to figure out the process together to ensure that if you want to participate, you have a role in a way to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup, Madame Fraser. And Monsieur Guénard, pour votre réponse d'1 minute, s'il vous plaît. Vous êtes encore?
Okay, wait. Yeah. Thank you, Madame Crowley. So I just want to reassure you that the closed meeting that you say it is, it's just a briefing meeting with the directors and staff on the topic that are or will be on the agenda. So nothing is decided under with those meetings. And what I engage myself in is that as an ex-mayor is that now that we live a year and a half in Zoom, so once we go back in public, what I would like to do is keep doing the Zoom meeting or some kind of video streaming so that the
10 seconds.
residents can access the council meeting either in presence of the council or in the comfort of their house.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Guénard. I'd just like to pause for a quick moment right now to say that we started the questions from the public and citizens 10 minutes later than we forecast in our schedule for the evening. So we would like to continue for another 10 minutes. So rather than finish at 8:45, we would like to finish at 8:55. So I'm looking for nods from the candidates. Does that work for all of you? Ça fonctionne pour vous. Donc, nous allons continuer pour 10 minutes de plus parce que nous avons commencé les questions de vous, les citoyens, 10 minutes plus tard que prévu dans l'horaire de la soirée. Donc, merci beaucoup de la coopération de tous les candidats et candidates. Thank you, candidates, for your cooperation. And we will move to the next question, which is in English from Scott Findlay to Ward 2 candidates. Notwithstanding its professed environmental friendliness, over the past decade or so, Chelsea Council has acted principally as an impediment rather than an impetus to environmental protection and conservation. What concrete actions, not plans, strategies, et cetera, will you champion to A, reduce Chelsea's greenhouse gas emissions, and B, conserve Chelsea's biodiversity? So Ward 2, we're going to flip that around this time and we'll go with Mr. Jeff White for your first 1 minute response.
Thanks, Professor Findlay, for the excellent question. We're stopping development. We cannot be an environmentally friendly community with McDonald's going in, with coffee shop after coffee shop after coffee shop. Listen, no disrespect for our small business owners, but we have an eco spa that is consuming up our village. We've got I see Pierre Guénard rolling his eyes, but it's true. We are turning our town into a tourist destination where we can't afford our houses, our seniors can't live, our youngsters can't come here to work. Boozy Doozy's talking about not being able to afford or hire staff. Listen, Mr. Findlay, development has to stop. All right, the expansion has to stop. We cannot turn this into, we're paving paradise.
10 seconds.
In Mitchell's phrase, and with me as part of the team on council, we're going to make some good decisions and reflect environmentally friendly community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White, for your response. Merci, Jeff. Et maintenant, nous tournons vers M. Dominique Labrie pour sa réponse d'1 minute.
Merci, thank you. I will go in French because I had the chance to explain my plan in English. Donc, j'ai 5 mesures pour l'environnement. D'abord, mettre une pause, bien sûr, sur le développement. Ça m'apparaît, c'est fondamental. J'étais le premier candidat à le proposer. se doter comme objectif et d'un plan d'être carboneutre d'ici 2050. Gatineau le fait, plusieurs autres municipalités le font. Et à la base, c'est intégré dans le processus de décision de la municipalité que la question des changements climatiques fasse partie de l'analyse de tous les dossiers. Toutes les actions de la municipalité doivent être screenées en vertu de ça. Et bien sûr, implanter le plan directeur de transport actif. Ça m'apparaît le bottom line.
Merci beaucoup, M. Labrie. Dominique, et maintenant, Michael Bourassa, over to you, please, for your 1-minute answer.
Thank you, Mr. Finlay, for your question. So my opponent are against development. So what we're doing is just pushing people away to Ottawa and all for services, taking their car every day and polluting the environment. We need services on Old Chelsea Road so that people can walk, bike, and live car-free in Chelsea. To protect the environment, we also need to protect our beautiful forest and land. So if we concentrate development in the core of Chelsea while protecting the rest of the municipality as much as we can, this is how we're going to help the environment and do the best we can. I know you said we don't need a plan and not concrete action like that, but I really think Chelsea need a plan. Like Canada has a plan, Quebec government has a plan. We need a plan to protect a large share of our territory, and we need a plan to reduce green gas emission. Without a plan, it's just going to be word up in the air and nothing's going to happen.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, M. Bourassa. Thank you very much. Now, the next question, en français, de Jean-François Chevrier, qui demeure à District 3. Question pour les candidats à la mairie. Je suis un franco-manitobain qui habite à Chelsea depuis 2017. La loi 101 assure les droits linguistiques de tous les citoyens du Québec et confirme le français comme unique langue officielle de la province. Dans quelle langue allez-vous travailler avec les nombreux fonctionnaires francophones de Chelsea si vous êtes élu le 7 novembre? Et voilà, donc nous allons passer la première réponse à M. Pierre Guénard. Vous avez 1 minute, Pierre.
Merci beaucoup, M. Chevrier, pour votre question. Puis, bienvenue à Chelsea. C'est une belle communauté. Puis, on est privilégié de vous avoir parmi nous. Donc, oui, en effet, la loi 101 et tout ça, mais moi, dans le fond, comme j'ai fait depuis 8 ans, je collabore toujours avec les gens dans la langue avec laquelle ils m'interpellent. Avec les employés, pour la plupart, c'est le français. Donc, je collabore avec eux en français. Je collabore avec eux aussi comme président de comité ou membre de comité. Puis, tous les comités municipaux se déroulent en français. Toutefois, lorsque nous avons des membres issus de la communauté qui sont bilingues ou anglophones, bien, à ce moment-là, on permet aussi aux gens de communiquer dans la langue de leur choix, mais moi, je le fais en français avec les francophones.
Merci, M. Guénard. Thank you, Pierre. And Madame Fraser, Shelley, over to you for your 1-minute response.
Sure, thank you. I've been thinking about this question quite a bit. I thought that someone would ask tonight, and here it is. I've given it a lot of thought because obviously a lot of you know that I am not bilingual, but I have the complete desire to learn. That said, I will learn upon my own dime, my own expense to do so. And I'm committed to have a full-time relationship with the municipality in this capacity. Like the other mayors that have gone before me, which is Carol Green and Judy, both could not speak French before they started, and both did learn. I endeavor to do the same myself. Within the municipality and in other leaders that I've talked to, not one of them has said that they would not work
10
with
seconds.
me as we learn and grow in this capacity. So I think that I appreciate your question, and I know that I will get there.
Merci, Madame Fraser. Thank you, Shelley. The next question is in English from Edmund Etu, Hollow Glen, living in Hollow Glen, and it's for the mayoral candidates. Densification of urban areas is a prime source of funding for the growth of municipal infrastructure. How do you reconcile the need to fund infrastructure maintenance and growth with an increased desire by residents to stop or severely slow development in the two urban cores of Chelsea? And over to you, Madame Fraser. Shelley, for your 1 minute response.
I am so sorry. I just
Oh,
I just zoned out there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. No,
I apologize. Go again.
no, that's
Sorry
fine.
about that.
Okay, I will read the question again. Edmund,
Okay.
pardon? No, sorry. That's Edmund Hay2, Hollow Glen to Mayors. From Hollow Glen to a question to the mayors. Densification of urban areas is a primary source of funding for the growth of municipal infrastructure. How do you reconcile the need to fund infrastructure maintenance and growth with an increased desire by residents to stop or severely slow development in the two urban cores of Chelsea? And over to you, Shelley, for your 1 minute response. Madame Fraser.
Thank you for that. You know, there's lots of conversation about this particular issue. And at the current time, our debt is very, very high and it's on the backs of our residents. Right now, we're approximately high 80s, 88% of all of our property tax goes to municipal services. So when you think about those numbers, you ask yourself, can we continue to grow the way that we are on the backs of our residents? Or do we have to look at new models? I would argue that we probably have to look at new models. We have to say to ourselves, do we want to continue to have our taxes go up as residents? Or do we want to look at other models where we say, maybe we need to invest a little bit more in commercial businesses that speak to the needs of our community? Right now, our infrastructure is at maximum demand. I personally think that we all need to stop and pause and think about how we want to move forward.
It's time.
Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Merci, Madame Fraser. Thank you, Shelley. And Monsieur Guénard, over to you, please. 1 minute.
Thank you, Monsieur Itu. When I got involved with council, Chelsea was at $13 million budget, and now we are at $22 million budget. We have the means to achieve our vision because we now have the leverage to invest more in the environment and to act for climate change. We must be intelligent and ambitious with this new capacity. Make no mistake, we are in a better place now than we were 4 years ago. Our finances are in order, contrary to what some people seem to believe. Yes, we need to address our infrastructure deficit and protect ourselves from the climate change impact. That's sure. But we have been doing that. And still last year, we were able to pay more than $700,000 than planned to pay down the debt early. We were able to keep taxes the same even through property value have soared higher. This is a success.
Time.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Guénard, Pierre. And our final question of the evening is addressed in English to the mayoral candidates from Stephen Woodley. Would you support a municipal process with the aim of Chelsea becoming a net zero carbon community by 2035? This would mean setting up a carbon accounting system and putting in place policies for transport and housing, among others. And I'll look to Mr. Guénard for the first answer. 1 minute, s'il vous plaît.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Woodley. I would support a municipal process that so that Chelsea aim the 2035 zero carbon, and there will be transportation and housing policies put in place under the new master plan. We need also to reduce the the two car thing with the Transcolline and also Communauto, like car share. The habitation, we need to have better standards like Novo Climat to have more efficient building types. And also we need to recognize and also protect the natural infrastructures and also preserve our wetlands. So that we can, and also the canopy, we need to protect the canopy and all the wetlands. And also, we will
Merci.
cartographier les
Merci beaucoup, Mr. Guénard. Thank you, Pierre. Over to you, Madame Fraser. Shelley, for your 1-minute response.
Sure. If we follow the UN requirement, the number one thing is to eliminate poverty and make sure that we have clean water and that people can have a decent life. When I think about what's happening to seniors and youth in our community is not complete. We're focused on the middle. We're forgetting about the fringe. When I look at your plan, Mr. Woodley, I know that you're a proponent of regulation, education, incentives, and collective investment. I too agree that those things are very, very important, and a sustainable future for our community is our most important thing. I would love to work with you and your group as we determine what the best steps are as we tackle this big challenge. We know that electrification is incredibly important, as is renewable energy.
10 seconds.
We need to make sure that we are servicing in a way that we can be proud of and leave a legacy for our children. So I'd love to talk more.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Fraser. And this concludes the questions from the public. Thank you to all who submitted questions. Unfortunately, we were not able to get to all the questions this evening. Thank you to the candidates for being willing to go on for another 10 minutes, much appreciated. And thank you to the citizens. Those were an excellent variety of questions and some important questions were asked this evening. Donc, un grand merci à tous les citoyens et citoyennes pour vos questions. Vous avez offert une belle variété de questions et des questions importantes pour les candidats. Donc, un grand merci et merci aux candidats et candidates d'être disponibles pour continuer pour un autre 10 minutes. And now I have the pleasure of turning over the microphone to the Zoom microphone to Nikki Mantell for the closing remarks.
Yes, and that concludes our Chelsea Candidates Forum brought to you by the Lowdown to Hell and Back News. Well done, candidates. Good job.
Can we talk about Bill 96 some more?
Sure, give me a call at the office tomorrow. We can chat all you want, but I think everybody here has done a really good job of putting forth their answers tonight. It's really been a really great evening. Lots of great discussion. So I'd like to thank the candidates. I'd like to thank our moderator, Lynn Berthiaume, who did an excellent job. Et merci à nos traducteurs simultanés, Alain Pichet, Annick Boutin, Charles-Antoine Bachand, qui ont également offert leur temps et leurs compétences, ainsi qu'à Lucy Scully, notre gourou Zoom. Et merci à vous, notre public, de s'informer sur son futur gouvernement municipal. N'oubliez pas de voter le 7 novembre. Don't forget to vote November 7th. Thanks, everyone.